Hello friends, my name is Dr. Randy Schrader and I am motivated to help you have a fulfilling life and satisfying relationships. In this video, you will learn the 10 best marriage tips ever for having a consistently satisfying relationship. I think it's important when anyone gives marriage advice and says they're an expert to share their credentials. I wrote the 3-time national award-winning marriage book, Simple Habits for Marital Happiness, as well as the national award-winning Simple Habits for Effective Parenting. I am a former seminary professor of pastoral counseling for 25 years, where I taught premarital counseling, marriage counseling, family counseling, as well as other counseling classes. My wife and I have been married for more than 47 years. The first marriage tip and the second and the third, I should say, all focus on how you have healthy disagreement discussions. It is a total myth that consistently satisfying marriages do not have disagreements. Happy couples have disagreements, but they keep their discussions respectful. They don't have yelling arguments or fights or conflicts. The first simple yet very effective best tip for helping you have a respectful discussion is to stay inside the nines. Never have a serious discussion before 9 in the morning or after 9 at night when our feelings are tender, when we're tired, when we may not be in a pleasant mood, because when we're tired, that leads to attack and blame more than it does to seeking solutions. Some couples have even said, we're not going to have a serious discussion before 8 o'clock at night, or after 8 o'clock at night, and before 10 o'clock in the morning. Almost 100% of the time, when I ask couples, when was the last time you had a big blow up? It was before 9 in the morning or after 9 o'clock at night. The second best marriage tip ever is to always be seated when you have that marriage discussion, because standing is a power position. Standing can lead to intimidation, and standing makes it difficult for us to listen well. And it also is easier for us to yell out loud at our spouses. In fact, again, when I see struggling marriages, I ask, the last time you had a big blow up, were one or both of you standing? And almost 100% of the time, the answer is yes. And then third, the best marriage tip ever for especially healthy discussions is to have a soft startup with the words, I need your help. Harsh beginnings, almost 100% of the time, will lead to harsh endings. What is a harsh ending? A harsh ending is saying you always, or you never, or you're stupid, or you're dumb, or we need to talk, or I've got an issue with this, or I've got a problem with that. Absolutely essential to have a soft startup with the words, I need your help, when you have a disappointment or a heartache in your marriage relationship, so that you have a soft startup. And you may not discuss it at that time. You may need to schedule the discussion again when both of you have the energy to seek solutions rather than to attack and blame one another. Smart couples have guidelines for disagreement discussion, and I actually have 16 guidelines in my award-winning book, Simple Habits for Marital Happiness. The fourth best tip ever for a marriage is to go overboard on politeness in your relationship. Never underestimate the power of words. Never underestimate the power of politeness. When a struggling couple comes in to see me, politeness is lacking. Politeness is missing in their marriage relationship. And in fact, I've never seen a struggling marriage where politeness reigned supreme until they became consistently satisfied in their relationship through these simple, specific, practical words and behaviors that I'm sharing with you now. Use a lot of pleases and thank yous and you're welcomes. Give each other a lot of compliments with the words, I appreciate. In fact, I call it an appreciation vitamin. I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you saying that. And in fact, individuals that often lack a lot of politeness use the C's a lot. They criticize, they complain, they condemn. They're frequently correcting. They are fault finders. They're not good finders. Be a good finder in your marriage relationship. Go overboard on politeness with please, thank you, you're welcome, and give your spouse numerous compliments with the words, I appreciate. And then the fifth best marriage tip ever is to implement the 3 10s. A hug, a talk, and a kiss. Before marriage, couples give each other meaningful hugs, meaningful kisses. They spend hours talking to each other over just casual coffee conversation things. They look into each other's eyes. The eyes are the windows to the heart. Connect your heart with your spouse's heart by doing a daily 10-minute talk. And I use the 10s, although you don't want to get a stopwatch in time, a 10-second hug, 10-second kiss, 10-minute heart talk. But I say that so it will be a meaningful hug, a meaningful plain kiss, a meaningful eye-to-eye heart contact to connect. And to avoid a power struggle, I always suggest that the wife on the even dates initiates the 3 10s, the hug, the kiss, the talk, and on the odd dates, the husbands will initiate the 3 10s. The fifth best marriage tip ever would be regarding expectations. Expectations are everything in a marriage. When you have an expectation and your spouse meets it, there is connection and there is bonding in your marriage relationship. When you have an expectation and it is not met, then you have the gap of heartache and heartburn. You need to let each other know your expectations. And in fact, I think it's good on a regular basis to just let your expectation be known with a will you please. You want to use a question and make a request. Usually a sentence can come across as selfish, as a demand, a command, and an order. Because you don't give your spouse a chance to say no thank you. So I say to you, please do this or please do that. That is a demand, a command, and order because I didn't give you a chance to say no thank you. Much healthier, much better to ask, will you please do this or will you please do that? But always remember when you're disappointed, it's an expectation that has not been met. And usually it's an unexpressed expectation. So please, let your expectations be known to your spouse. And then the seventh best marriage tip ever is apologizing and forgiving, and how you apologize and forgive to each other. Forgiveness is the center of the Christian faith. Likewise, forgiveness is at the heart of a healthy Christian marriage. The Bible has 125 references to the importance of forgiveness for interpersonal relationships. Forgiveness involves, apologizing and forgiving involves 3 parts. The first part is to say, I am sorry I hurt you by. And it's important to use the word hurt because that indicates compassion and sympathy for what happened. And then be specific with words and behaviors. I'm sorry I hurt you by saying ABC. I'm sorry I hurt you by forgetting to do XYZ. The second and the third part are absolutely the most important. The second part is the humility part, where you ask, will you please forgive me? If you don't ask, will you please forgive me, often the tone of voice with the I'm sorry I hurt you by can be flippant or can be condescending. So it's I'm sorry I hurt you by saying ABC, asking, being humble, will you please forgive me? And then the third part is to always use the forgive word and say, I forgive you. Never say, that's okay, no problem, I'm over it. What seals the marriage back together and heals the brokenness and is the glue for the marriage relationship is to say, I forgive you. Or if it was a deeply painful hurt, with God's help, I will work at forgiving you. When there's been adultery, I often suggest to the betrayed spouse that every morning when they wake up in private, they're probably going to need to say out loud, with God's help, I am working at forgiving you. So the 3 parts are, I'm sorry I hurt you, will you please forgive me, and I forgive you. And then the 8th best marriage tip ever is to have no secrets in your relationship. Healthy spouses do not have secrets. Secrets damage a marriage because deceit and betrayal sneaks into the marriage when there are secrets, and those are dishonest actions and not truthful words that are going on in the relationship. Have no financial secrets, have no technology secrets with text messages, emails, chat rooms. Be totally open with your spouse. And in fact, if there's nothing to hide, you can easily be totally open and share your passwords and your email and your phone and all that with your spouse. But avoid secrets at all costs in your marriage relationship. And then ninth, daily pray together. Prayer connects us to our loving God. Prayer connects a husband and wife together. Pray at meal times, before and after meal prayers. Pray throughout the day. Pray in the car. Pray for someone who is ill together. Pray for someone who lost a loved one together. Spiritually, prayer brings a couple together, and that also connects a couple emotionally. And all our prayers have God's divine and perfect answers, so please daily pray together in your marriage relationship. And finally, the 10th best marriage tip ever is to have sexual intimacy weekly, or at least weekly nude closeness. Sexual intimacy and the marriage are not in two different compartments. Sexual intimacy and the marriage relationship are interconnected for relationship satisfaction. Sexual intimacy certainly is physically pleasurable, but more importantly, sexual intimacy emotionally connects a couple together. And when I see a struggling marriage, and again, I've helped thousands and thousands of spouses have a consistently satisfying marriage, and you can and you will have a consistently satisfying marriage using these 10 best marriage tips ever, as well as the other tips in my marriage book, Simple Habits for Marital Happiness. But when I see a couple struggling, they often infrequently have intercourse. And when I ask the last time they had intercourse, they'll say a month ago or 2 months ago, 3 months ago, or even longer. And so have weekly sexual intercourse, or at the least nude closeness, because sometimes spouses are unable physically, for various reasons, to have intercourse, but that nude closeness that can happen in the shower together, in the bed together, needs to occur on a weekly basis for a strong, consistently satisfying marriage relationship. I pray that these 10 best marriage tips ever will help your relationship. There are 80 more excellent tips, words, behaviors in my 3-time national award-winning book, Simple Habits for Marital Happiness. Will you please subscribe to my YouTube channel? Will you please also share this video and other videos with your family and friends? And please comment about other life issues or relationship challenges that you would like me to do a YouTube video on to help you in your life and in your relationships. I really appreciate you taking time from your valuable schedule to watch this video to enhance your marriage relationships. And I pray God's richest blessings upon your life and all your relationships.